Lincolnshire Move project presents Haunted by Love, written by the Yellow Belly Writing Group. Episode 2.
Murder does funny things to people, and the residents of Ewerby Barrows were no exception. The killing of Jimmy Franklin had shocked the whole village, and everyone was on edge. None more so than Ruth Turnbull, pillar of the community and general good egg. She appeared to have reacted particularly badly to the news, and her strange, erratic behaviour had led her husband Roger to believe something supernatural was occurring. One morning, about a fortnight after the event, I found Ruth, desperate and confused, on the village green, and decided to escort her to the tea room so we could pay local medium, Amelia Arbuthnot, a little visit.
Thank you so much for agreeing to come with me, Petronia. I'm at my wit's end with all of this. Oh, what's happening to me?
Don't you worry, Ruth. Amelia is bound to have come across this sort of thing before. If anyone can help, she can.
Come straight through, my dears. I've been expecting you. Just turn the shop open sign to closed, will you, Petronia?
Certainly.
That will ensure we won't be disturbed. Now, follow me. Make yourselves at home. Don't mind Casper, he's as good as gold. Casper, you bad dog. Come and sit here beside me this instant. I'm so sorry, ladies, that's most unusual. We'll have no more out of you, thank you, Casper. Now then, tell me what's been happening, Ruth. I know that you've been to the doctor and seen Reverend Entwistle.
I keep having these blackouts. Well, at least they seem like blackouts to me. Roger says that I'm behaving oddly, not myself. Oh, Amelia, I don't know what's wrong with me.
Oh, there, Ruth. We'll get to the bottom of this. Petronia, what do you know?
Just as Ruth says, Amelia. 1 minute she's there, the next it's as though she's a different person. Nobody else knows what to do.
A different person in what way, though?
Roger says that she's been coming out with words, language and mannerisms that she never uses. Guttural, coarse, threatening even.
And you're not aware of them, Ruth?
No. Oh, Amelia, am I going mad?
I don't think so, Ruth.
You know what it is, Amelia?
I've an inkling. Now, don't you worry, Ruth. I've seen things like this before. Can you come and see me again tonight?
Yes, as long as someone can bring me.
Oh, don't you worry about that, my dear. Can you organise that, Petronia?
Yes, of course. Does it have to be at night, Amelia?
In my experience, the best results in these matters usually occur when things are quieter and people are more relaxed. Ruth, do try to get some sleep and make sure that someone is with you at all times, won't you? I'll see you at 8 o'clock.
Oh, thank you, Amelia. You are sure that I'm not going mad?
Quite sure. Make sure that Ruth isn't left alone, won't you, Petronia?
Leave it to me, Amelia. I'll make sure that she's looked after.
Good. Until tonight, then, Ruth. Well now, Casper, you sensed something, didn't you, my dear? I wonder who else might be joining us later.
Morning, Martin.
Hello, Dolly. How are you?
I'm fine, Martin.
Isn't it awful what happened to James?
Is it?
Of course. Don't you think it is?
What? You suggesting I don't? You're the one who was at war with the man.
That was all from his end. I just wanted him to leave me alone.
Was that a reason to do him in?
No, of course not. You're not serious.
But you're serious in thinking I might have reason.
What? No!
Our friendship was proper. I had no quarrel with him. You're not going to pin your crime on me.
I wouldn't do that. What? No!
So you acknowledge it?
I didn't know what to respond to.
Oh, Jimmy! Oh, Jimmy! Your murderer stands afore me.
I will not stand to be accused.
The brass will find the evidence.
You're clearly grieving and upset, so I will forgive you for this.
Forgive me? Knowing your crime is a sin that requires forgiveness. How dare you? How dare you?
Oh! Please calm down.
Calm down, says the devil as he drags you to hell. Miss Stoley's says calm down to Mr. Fawkes as he steals his soul.
Mephistopheles and Faustus.
Of course you know their names. The name of the demon you memorise, the name of the villain you idolise. I know your works, Dark One. Yeah, run! Run from the righteous woman who had no quarrel with him. I'm not glad for his death, nor do I have reason. But you, murderer! That such a thing could happen in Euroby Barrows.
Is he here yet?
No, Mr. Turnbull, are you...
Is he here yet?
Not yet.
Just who exactly is this chap of yours?
An old friend.
His name?
Father Dunn. John Dunn.
John Dunn. Oh, that name strikes me as familiar.
You might have come across it in the book reviews.
He's a writer.
Yes, of a sort. He recently wrote Death in the Middle Ages.
A historian. What good do you possibly think he'd be able to do?
Because he's not only a medievalist, but also a specialist in the fields of the supernatural. He's dealt with many, well, how should I put this, strange occurrences in the past, and I assure you, is far more well-equipped to deal with this sort of thing than I am.
Strange occurrences? What precisely do you think?
Oh, hold on, dear boy. I do believe that's our man I can hear coming.
He deals with this sort of thing regularly.
You'll soon be able to ask him yourself.
Good morning, Keith. And Mr. Turnbull, I perceive. By the looks on your faces, it's a good thing I came as soon as I could.
It really is good to see you, John, but I'm afraid we don't have time for pleasantries.
Yes, something about a possession, wasn't it?
It's my wife. It's my wife.
Don't be distressed, my son. You have my word that if your wife is possessed, then by God's grace she shall have her back.
I don't want your word. I want Ruth.
Good. Then take me to her.
Who on earth is knocking at this time on a night?
Oh, that'll be Alex, dog. I asked him to drop off the invoice for our call. Wanted to get caught up on the bills.
Okay. Why so late, though? Ain't we important enough?
Be nice. He's a good bloke. Chap has a lot going on. He ain't just a coalman, you know. He does odd jobs too. You're my partner in crime, but his has 4 legs, and as amazing as Lucy is, she ain't doing much to help with his day-to-day duties now, is she?
I know, still.
Now then, me old mucker. You know we ain't ashamed of you knocking on our door. We do have one of these at the front of the house.
Yeah, sorry, sir.
Alex, what have I told you about calling me sir?
Sorry, Winston. Hello, Dolly.
Evening, love.
I thought I'd take advantage of your rear porch. It's a tad moist out.
Fairy snuff. What can I do you for, chap?
Well, I'm just dropping off your invoice as you requested. Apologies for the lateness. It's been a busy day.
See? I told you, doll.
All right, no need to rub it in.
Thanks. Were you able to get that leak fixed like I asked?
Leak? We have a leak? Why didn't you tell me? I'm the last to know about everything round here.
All right, Nosy. Calm down, dear.
Call me dear again and your nose will be leaking.
Sorry, doll.
Anyway, are you going to leave the man standing out there all night?
Where are my manners? Come in, Alex. What's your tipple?
I'd love to stay, but my day isn't finished yet. Another time.
I understand. On your way, then.
Well, I never. Did you see that look he gave me just then? What's his flaming problem?
Dolly, leave it.
Why? I shouldn't have to put up with that.
I said, leave it. I'm going for a walk. Permission to come aboard, Captain Lucy? Home, Jeeves. Oh, wait, I'm already home. Onwards. You're such a good girl, ain't you, Lucy? Now, that man sat next to you, not so much tonight. Hey, Alex?
Oh, I'm sorry about that, Winston. I must admit, I panicked a touch. I know she's your wife, but you know Dolly terrifies me. I thought she'd see right through your leak.
Well, trying to think positively. At least you didn't just call me sir again. I'm in the same boat as you, chap. Even though she is my wife, she terrifies me too. Regardless, there ain't no coming back from this if it all comes out. No matter how good you are at your job, even you won't be able to recover from this one. You understand what's at stake, right? Do you want to be still delivering coal when you're 75?
Oh, I understand, Winston. Would you allow me this momentary slip in all the years we have been working together?
It's been allowed. Make it your last. Understand?
I do.
Heavens, Miss Appleton, you startled me.
I do apologise, Miss Hawkes. I wanted to have a little chat with you, if you're not too busy.
I'm never too busy to make time for you, Miss Appleton. You entertain me so.
I'm not sure what you mean.
Well, you always have some delightful tidbit of gossip to share with me.
I do not gossip, Miss Hawkes.
Oh, no, of course you don't, my dear. You just keep me up to date with all the latest local news.
Precisely.
Exactly.
Talking of which, have you heard about the...
The what, Miss Appleton? Have you forgotten, or are you pausing for dramatic effect?
The murder.
Which one?
Well, I believe there has only been one. At least, I hope so.
So do I, but one can never be too sure.
I'm talking about the murder of James Franklin.
Oh, that.
Oh, you've heard then?
I have, I'm afraid. Sorry to disappoint. It was a fortnight ago.
What do you think?
About what?
Well, who do you think might have committed the deed?
I'm not sure it's our place to speculate on such matters. Do you?
Oh, come off it. You must have some theories. Mother and I came up with quite a list of suspects the other week.
I think perhaps we ought to leave this sort of thing to the police.
Don't play the innocent with me, Miss Hawkes. I know you. This whole affair will have you intrigued.
Well, I must admit the situation has piqued my interest. Slightly. I mean, it's such an unusual occurrence in such a quiet little village.
Precisely.
Exactly.
Maybe if you asked around a little, you might be able to help the police with their inquiries.
Indeed. Of course, that would be the only reason I would be asking around.
Of course. And you are quite close to some of the more secretive people in the area.
Martin Hall is not secretive. He's just a private person.
I didn't necessarily mean Mr. Hall.
Didn't you?
Not at all. I think there are a number of local people who would take you into their confidence.
I doubt that, Miss Appleton. I'm not trusted yet. I'm still relatively new to the village.
But as a journalist, you know how to ask the right questions.
I suppose my investigative experience might come in useful.
Precisely.
Exactly.
I seriously doubt this is supernatural. These things usually aren't.
Well, that's fine, Father. As long as we can understand what's happening.
Good afternoon. You must be Father Dunn. Come in, please. Come in.
Good afternoon. This isn't exactly a social call. Your husband is concerned you've been acting strangely.
I'm sure I don't know what you mean. I'm doing just fine. Did you see the greenhouse on the way in? Aren't my plants marvellous? They're growing better than I expected.
Oh, Ruth, you haven't quite been yourself recently.
I think maybe the murders unsettled you.
I barely knew the man, but it's upsetting, of course. Still, the longest I spent with him was when he dragged me into that ridiculous séance.
Oh, you didn't think that was ridiculous at the time, Ruth? Oh, Father, do you think the séance could...
The ghost just walked over my grave. What good padre. Don't you want to come in for a brew? Maybe something stronger? I'll bet you're a typical priest, always on a drink.
Ruth!
I do think this is psychological. A death, even of an acquaintance, can make you face your mortality. It can affect us much more than we expect.
Death? Whose death?
Jimmy Franklin!
That name seems so familiar. So close. Everything is so big here, so expansive. So many memories of so many people. But I can't. Not yet.
You can't what?
Go, you fool! I can't go. What I carried, what I did, what happened. I can't go.
Ruth, what's going on?
Ruth? That was me. A long time ago. So many people I've been since. Australia, that awful colony where we nearly starved. But no, those memories aren't the closest. It's all happening. The awakening, the awareness, all of the memories, all of the people, all of me, all at once. Oh! My mind's gone blank. What are we talking about? Don't look at me like that, Father Dunn. It'll happen to you. You'll start forgetting yourself in the middle of a conversation and don't know where you are. It happens to all of us, age does. Cup of tea?
Oh, she's convinced herself that nothing's wrong.
Yes, she doesn't seem to remember those moments. Her voice changed completely.
You can't tell me this is bloody psychology. That's a spirit.
Yes, I think so. Confused and disoriented, on the threshold between life and death.
And what was that thing about being named Ruth in a starving colony?
Don't trouble yourself with that. I can't discuss reincarnation. The Pope would not approve.
Oh, bloody hell. The Pope isn't here, and I'm not Catholic. What if it's something that happened in Australia, that's keeping the spirit here?
No, it's most likely that he was recently murdered.
Oh, how do you know that?
I don't know, I only suspect. The murder victim, James Franklin.
Oh, isn't that jumping to the easiest conclusion?
That's why I'm uncertain. I promise I will help Ruth. Both of them.
I didn't know who to turn to. Well, there's a fortune teller in the village. Well, she's agreed to have a session with Ruth.
My conversation with Mavis Appleton played on my mind. There were so many things in this mysterious case that didn't add up, and she was correct in that my journalistic experience could prove useful in acquiring more information if I asked the right questions. I decided to have a little mooch around the village to see who I could find to have a cheeky chat with, and it just so happened that I stumbled across Isaac Morris, the gravedigger, on my shortcut through the churchyard.
Looks like we have another visitor. A weary traveller looking for a place of rest, no doubt. As are most that find themselves here.
I thought perhaps we could have a word. I have some questions.
Come to give an old man some company then? Is that it? The dead don't often take kindly to such trivialities.
I asked around about you. Most say you've been here just about as long as can be remembered. And I'm sure you see all kinds of things, given your occupation.
This one. Another parasite come to feed off our village. Or something different? I think not. I think not.
Well, now you've piqued my interest. Mr. Morris, I just want to find out the truth, and I thought you might know something that could assist my investigation.
What an ignorant and misguided path you take. You may not like where your curiosity leads you.
We could really help the community, don't you think? Get to the bottom of what's really been going on around here.
Direct any further line of questioning you have to the vicar and his ilk. I'm sure you'll find them much more compliant. Now, begone. Your lingering presence here is beginning to test my patience.
I don't suppose this is an impromptu attempt to get a free art lesson, is it?
There's Spiky again. It doesn't do you any favours, you know, Martin.
Then why exactly are you here, then, Petronia? It wouldn't have anything to do with the demise of dear old Jimmy Franklin, would it?
You do realise that you're a prime suspect, don't you?
Ha! The village jungle drums are in working order, I see.
Martin, this is no time for horsing around. Have the police been to see you?
No, I haven't had that pleasure yet. I did bump into Dolly Pembroke on the high street, though. She seemed very keen to pin the blame onto me.
What did she say?
Oh, just that I was the devil incarnate, and that I'm going to roast in hell. Nothing much.
Martin, you've got to start taking this seriously. Now, I've got one question for you. Did you do it?
What would it matter what I say? The verdict's in already. Mea culpa.
Martin, you are impossible.
Well, I am an artist, darling. Our temperamentality is legendary.
You don't have to wallow in it quite so much, though, do you?
Perhaps you're right, Petronia. I'm my own worst enemy. Along with Jimmy Franklin, of course.
Have you thought about leaving the village? Going to stay with friends for a while?
Why should I go anywhere? Wouldn't that just confirm people's suspicions?
Perhaps, but at least you wouldn't be in harm's way. That family's capable of anything.
My, Petronia. I never knew you cared.
Of course I care, Martin. I don't want to see you hurt. You will think about it, won't you?
All right. Just for you.
And start taking this seriously. There's been one death already. We don't want any more.
Who might have a motive? It's Martin Hall, of course. They were enemies.
Oh, Mrs. Pembroke, don't be ridiculous. That enmity was from Jimmy's side. Martin just wished to be left alone. Jimmy was accusing him of dalliances with men.
Oh,
In my experience, people loudly proclaim things about others to deflect from themselves.
Jimmy Franklin? Dalliances with men? You don't think he was one of those?
I don't know. Honestly, I'm clutching at straws. I have nothing to go on. I was at Martin's house that morning before we heard about the death. The way he looked out the window, he definitely expected that Jimmy may be there. There weren't any tells, his voice didn't quiver, his hands didn't shake, he didn't rapidly change the subject.
So he's good at hiding his guilt. Don't mean he didn't do it. You can't deny he's a very strange man.
No, Martin's socially awkward, but not aggressive. Besides, he's a toff. He doesn't have the guts to commit a murder. I told him that. He got offended. He said he could kill, inspired by the great heroes like Achilles and Beowulf. He's quite ridiculous. But he's not a murderer.
Do you know who's always set me on edge? The gravedigger Isaac. Close to those corpses. Oh, I tell you, the rest of us, we're aware of death, but push it aside. Morticians and gravediggers don't have the luxury. They look death in the face, even the most gruesome. They can't look away. They have to stare into it. Maybe he's stared at death for too long and has started liking what he sees.
Don't be ridiculous. Morticians and gravediggers don't come to like death. They just lose their sense of horror for it. At the same time, they develop a strict sense of reverence to always honour the person that was. That's how they maintain their sanity. I'd say that those professionals are more respectful to the dead than you or I.
Perhaps the old man lost his hold on that honour code and started to go mad.
The problem is that there's no evidence.
Hang in there, Miss Hawkes. You'll find evidence implicating Martin quite soon, I'm sure.
If you think of anything useful, let me know. Good afternoon, Mrs. Pembroke.
Come in. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't think that I've had the pleasure.
I'm Father Dunn, a diocesan priest. Roger asked me to come along. I hope that you don't mind.
No, not at all. We're all trying to help, I'm sure. This way. Don't mind Casper. He has his muzzle on as a precaution. Drinks, everyone?
Well, make mine a large one, please, Amelia. And a large one for Ruth would probably be best too.
Of course. Help yourselves. And for you, Father?
Oh, thank you very much. Scotch, please.
Sit down, everyone. Now, how have you been, Ruth?
A little better, I think, Amelia. I've been asleep for a lot of the time.
Yes, she has. Petronius said that it was important.
Quite so. Any further incidents?
Nothing major. Just a few small incidents. Thank the Lord.
Very good. Will you just be observing, Father Dunn?
Intently, Mrs. Arbuthnot.
Very well, then. All I ask is for complete silence when I begin. Drink up, Ruth. It will help you to relax.
I am feeling a bit sleepy, actually, Amelia.
Good, my dear. Don't fight it. Now then, breathe in and out. In and out. Allow yourself to drift, Ruth. Gently let go until you feel as though you're floating above us. That's right. gently slip away further and further until we're just specks in the distance, higher and higher, hearing my voice get softer and softer until all is silence, all is peaceful, all is calm. Now then, is there anyone else here with us this evening?
Where the bleeding hell am I?
It's quite all right, you're here with us. Now, what do you want?
I was shot.
And what happened next?
I got weaker and weaker. My head started spinning and then everything just went stum.
And what do you want from us?
Revenge. I'll not rest until I've had it. Until they get what's coming to 'em.
And who are you?
Don't ask bleeding stupid questions. I don't want to talk anymore. What's happening to me?
Now, just you leave that to us. We'll see to that. It's time for you to go now. Back to resting, back to calmness, back to the quiet. In and out. In and out. Now, in 3, 2, 1. Ruth? Ruth, are you back with us, Ruth?
I'm here, Amelia.
Good. Now open your eyes, my dear.
Ruth, are you all right?
I'm fine, Roger. What happened?
Now, all in good time. You just relax, my dear. Can you take her home, Roger? Same rules as before. Keep her resting and stay with her at all times. We're on the right track. Straight home now, Roger. Let's try to keep Ruth relaxed. I'll be in touch tomorrow.
All right, Amelia. Let's go home, Ruth.
Thank you, Amelia. Good night, Father Dunn.
Good night, Mrs. Turnbull. Mr. Turnbull.
Good night, Father Dunn.
Well, that was quite something, wasn't it?
It certainly was.
Now then, Casper, let's get that muzzle off. You must have been sensing all of that, eh, boy? I thought so, my dear. I wonder what Petronia's going to make of this. Another drink, Father Dunn?
Yes, please, Mrs. Arbuthnot. Did you recognise the voice?
I did, Father Dunn. And from the look on his face, Roger did too. It seems that we might just have become embroiled in the village murder enquiry.
Well, there she is, Winston, the local journalist. Must be having a field day with a murder to play amateur sleuth with. That hawk eye of yours is very likely to crack this before the boo bottles. Hey, this is the one that could very well be the making of you, Miss Hawkes.
Oh, how you flatter me, although I'm not sure that was entirely your intention. As for amateur...
Don't take it to heart. My good friend Winston here was just asking after you. You two will be fast friends, I'm sure of it.
No need for introductions. Petronia knows my wife, Dolly, and good friend Alex. We're friends by association, it seems. I feel somewhat embarrassed to admit you seem to know people I consider family, and yet we have barely spoken, other than in passing.
Well, yes, indeed. Your wife is...
Quite something, eh? There's only one of my Dolly. Certainly broke the mould when she was created by the big man upstairs. Don't worry. She often leaves me lost for words too. Oh, she's talking to you with the fizz flowing and you have nothing to worry about. Ain't that right, Isaac?
I'll not disagree there. From what I know about your wife, ask her no questions. and she'll tell you no lies. But switch the tongue for a shovel and start digging in affairs she don't think's concerns you.
Well, let's just say, lay down that shovel and start running fast. Now, Petronia, I'm just playing with you. Where are my manners? Lovely lady walks in, and minutes later she's still without a drink.
Allow me, Winston. It's the least I can do.
I've never heard of such a thing. No woman is buying me a drink. Won't hear of it.
Landlord, whatever Winston is having, and I'll have a drop of my usual.
Take a seat, Miss Hawks, and don't mind me. I'll take your secrets to my grave. Fear not.
After you, Petronia.
I understand, joking aside, that James Franklin was a friend of yours.
Put that on my tab, barman, and take one for yourself.
I see. You're a man used to getting your own way.
And I see you're not quite the uppity old cow people might have you down for. I reckon there's a side to you that should get out more.
Oh, and you're an expert at both reading and directing all women, I suppose? Well, I'm not one of your little women, and your misogynistic ways are quite wasted on me.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, and you don't fool me with your hard man ways and devilish charms. Dolly says she has her hands full with you, and Lord only knows what you fill your hands with. Ladies' men, I do not see the attraction.
I can honestly swear in fact, that you are way off on this, my pretty.
You mean to tell me that a man of your reputation and prowess are a one-woman-only kind of man?
I have never looked at another woman since marrying dolls.
One's enough. Right, my old mucker. Don't think any man could withstand such an earful twice. You look like you might need another. Drink, that is.
My good friend once said to me, we live by codes of honour, integrity and love. And that is why we will be successful. We're not cheap, and we don't rock up using dirty slang cheapening ourselves or our families or one another. A code is not a punchline, but everybody understands that.
I'm sorry, Winston. You must be talking of James.
Yes. Or Jimmy, as he was known by family.
As I started to say earlier, I realised that Jimmy was a friend of yours. A business associate, according to your wife, somewhat a confidant. She said many a time that you were thicker than thieves. Ironically.
Thieves? What about what life stole from us? I mean, Jimmy, he had his life taken, robbed, and what for? Thief. What does that even mean nowadays?
You must miss him, this business partner of yours. Your emotions...
You have.
Drinks. You have drinks. That's enough of these soppy feelings barring our reunion, Winston. Give it a rest, Miss Hawks. This is not one of your interrogations now. We're drinking in remembrance to those we've lost along the way.
You ever known someone who knows everything about you? I mean, everything. The strengths, weaknesses, failings, and successes. Who turns up one day and it's like the brother you never had. They see you at your worst, build you up, and never question you.
You mean someone who knows you and loves you anyway, dear?
Another round, barman. And one for yourself.
I shouldn't.
You asked. Now you'll see it through. Or you're like everyone else and scared of what you might find out. Or have to see. Bear witness to.
I'm afraid I'm not keeping up. Winston, you are clearly in a sense of shock and grief, having lost such a good friend and business partner. The implications are quite beyond my simple comprehension. I am unfamiliar with such emotion in a man.
He was not my brother. He was more than that. Jim's was one of a kind, a rare bloke. The kind you meet once in a lifetime, if you're lucky. My kids adored him, especially Mikey. They had a special connection. He had a way with the lost souls. He had a rule: never beat or take on the weaker kid if they were weak because of their difference. Weak because they're stupid, then the gloves are off. But because some pont-stop politician says they're different and that causes weakness, well, he was more likely to step up than away. He was before his time.
I had no idea you were so fond of him. There's
Another round. Get this sorry lot another round.
Most kind, Isaac. Will you get them in for us? As I was saying, Winston, you were clearly struck by James. How fortunate you found each other. Through business, Dolly says. What business was that, if you don't mind me asking?
No business of yours, Petronia. That's all you need to know. No business of yours.
Haunted by Love was written by Kai Bailey, Ian Cahill, Bradley Griffin, Michael Hill, Lee Johnson, Rory King and Joe Simmons. It featured the following performers in order of appearance: Amber Sinclair as Petronia Hawkes, Colette Buchanan Gray as Ruth Turnbull, Mary Rudkin as Amelia Arbuthnot, Jill Burns as Dolly Pembroke, Dan Excel as Martin Hall, Matt Brown as Roger Turnbull, Tony Gordon as Reverend Entwistle, David O'Brien as Father Dunn, Matt Barnes as Winston Pembroke, Craig Pakes as Alex Barnes, Joe Warwick as Mavis Appleton, and Nathan Hughes as Isaac Morris. The programme was recorded and edited by Colette Buchanan Gray and directed by Kai Bailey. This production was presented by the Lincolnshire Move Project, which is funded by the European Social Fund and the National Lottery Community Fund.